Are we live? Are we live? Are we live is the question. I'm on right now. What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. Episode 80. We're almost at 100. As you guys already know, on this platform, right? We share principles, strategies, lessons around marketing and business, and I bring amazing guests on that just go in and go crazy. And today's no different. We got a slightly slow start only because I was going crazy on Instagram, so I want to apologize for my tardy behavior, being tardy this morning. But we are here with the fire. We're gonna give you a high pack dynamic 30 minutes of value. Um, y'all gonna have to rewind it and get all the gems. You know. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. This is my guest right here.
Hey B, I'm coming. I'm trying to pull it on Google on my laptop because the link doesn't like Safari. So I'm coming.
Yeah, so she's gonna be right there. You guys heard. Who do I have as a guest today? I got one of my friends, Veronica, better known as Panther Inc. Graphics on Instagram. We're gonna go over branding and community building, and just so I am clear, right? She's gonna also be talking about how to not lose your why in the pursuit of business. I think that is crazy. That's a big one. So maybe we'll just focus on that today, and I'll give you some community and branding tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you some community, and we'll give you guys some branding tomorrow as soon as she jumps on. But maybe I'll just share one thing to you about building a community. So what I want you guys to understand is this. Oh, look at V already popped in. Look, she already popped in. You're gonna have to wait for that. What
What's
up?
up?
What's going down?
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for being with me this morning.
Thank you for having me. It didn't like
Yeah.
Safari at first. I was tackling Google and Safari. It was a battle.
I just listen, I don't know what happened, but some number I sent you was not the number. It was some
Really? So
other
that's
some,
why. Okay.
it was like some other 832 number. And I'm like,
I
this
don't
ain't
know,
it.
B. I don't know.
This
That's what
ain't
happened.
it.
It
So,
happened.
welcome to the Imperfect Action Show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Mm.
Before we get into it, I'm gonna just reset the room real quick. On the Imperfect Action Show, right? We share principles, lessons, strategies, right, in marketing and business, in hopes that you guys can take something from these lessons and implement it into your business in real time and get a real result. And we do this for free. So a lot of you guys may not take advantage of it because it's for free, but I know there are some people that will take advantage of it because it's free. Like this is right on top of you. So we encourage you to do that and do it long enough so you can get a result. And then you can see, is your thing working or is this gym that I just got gonna be what I need to get me to the next level? So with that being said, episode 80, I want to introduce somebody to today's episode. And this is someone that I've been fastly connected with. You know, we've been locking in on a gram, you know, whether it's podcasting, community building, marketing, audience building, or just overall vibes and just contributing to each other's audience. Everyone, please welcome Veronica, aka V, Panther Inc. Graphics,
Woo! When the ba.
to the Imperfect Action Show, man. How you doing?
Well, how are you? Thanks for
I'm doing
having
amazing.
me.
I'm doing amazing.
Good.
I'm super excited to have you on today's show.
Yes,
Um,
thanks for being. I'm so happy. Thanks for having me. This is an honor, B. Like you said, we the energy is what the alignment was all about. It's like, how can we not have an interview? Like, why not? Why would we not?
I mean, I feel like it's gonna be the first of many, so I ain't tripping. You know, it's gonna be the first of
Exactly.
many. hmm
Exactly.
So, why don't you do me a favor? Why
Hmm.
don't you let the people know a little bit about who you are, and while you're doing that, I'll send a text out to the community, let them know that we are live, and then we can talk about today's amazing topic.
Awesome. Okay, so hello everyone again. For those of you that do not know me, Bernica, aka V, I am the owner and operator of Panther Ink Graphics. I am a brand developer. I am also a branding coach. I help with mindset development with that as well. When you come under Brand Builders Academy, I help you build a mindset that is going to take for that long course we call entrepreneurship. So I love saying that I create lanes so that you do not have to compete in them. And what I mean by that is I love creating designs that leave an everlasting impression on your brand. I love coming up with branding concepts and strategies that's outside of the box. I'm a very outside of the box thinker. So that's what I mean by creating lanes so you never have to compete in one. That's who I am in a nutshell.
Creating lanes so you never have to compete in one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's actually really really powerful. I mean, a lot of people probably feel like, hey, I can't do this thing because all these other people are doing it. So there's some saturation. So
Right.
talk about that real quick, and then I want to get into the topic. So when you say creating lanes so people don't have to compete in one, what does that actually mean for the people who feel like there is saturation out here?
When it comes to saturation, that honestly means yes, there are markets that are very saturated. Like everybody wants to run a clothing line. Everybody says that they're a strategist or an empowering coach, but who can do it like you? That's what separates it. We gotta look for it. And then we gotta look for those broken. There are cracks in some people's strategies. So if you pay attention to the cracks, I always tell my mentees that's where you'll find the bag.
Mm,
Just because
the bags in the cracks.
exactly the bag is in the crack, you got to dig in there and see. So I always say, like for instance, when I first started out monetizing social media, I started out with a clothing line. All right. I started out with that Shopify store. I started doing the apparel, promoting the apparel. But then I'm like, okay, well, let me look at what the competitor is doing. When you go and study everything from their content, everything from the type of audience they're bringing in. But most importantly, I used to look into the questions that the audience would ask. I would look at the things that people say and praise about the product. And then I'll say, okay, well, they're praising this. So maybe I need 100% cotton and polyester blends. Or if they're saying, well, I love your product, but you never have my size, I might want to put in my content then we are the ones that never run out of anything from infant to 5XL. Or we are the company that can handle any big and tall situation. You want to look into the things that the competitor, that's why I always put quotes because we don't compete. You just study. If you study the information and you study the audience, it will help you find the crack. Or let's say it's an apparel line and maybe you do tailoring or something. Wouldn't it be great, since you never see people giving in a package when it's delivered to you? How do I handle my garment? How do I
Hmm.
wash it? How do I
Yep.
take care of it? The longevity of it. When you start giving all of those bite-sized pieces of information, you continue the relationship with the client. They no longer feel like a number. So that's always my intention, to go that extra mile, do that unique thing that you didn't see the other person doing. So now you no longer even, you step ahead of the saturation. You're separating yourself from the saturation.
So real quick, a couple things that you said there. You know, identifying the cracks, identifying what are things that competitors are not doing that you can simply add that will literally bring your thing to be more valuable, and then providing that to your consumer, right? It doesn't really cost you. I mean, depending on what it is, it may cost you a little bit, but generally, if it's information, it's not going to cost you a lot at all. You just have to distribute it. Second of all, I want to apologize because I pronounced your name incorrect. So I
That's
want to
okay.
make. I want no, it's not okay because
But it
your name,
happens.
your name is your name.
My name is my name.
Just like this guy, just like Pusha T says, my name is my name. So it's important that you get your that we get your name right. And then number three, today's topic is a spicy one. So when you sent it to me and I read it, I had to read it a couple of times. I'm like, at first I'm like, I didn't get it right.
Uh-huh.
Then I read it again. I was like,
Uh-huh.
I I got this. I got this right.
Yes.
Um, and then I'm reading this book called Superfans, and I'm at the point where they give a little example, right? And they're talking about Antonio Brown, and and how he was getting better and better and better, improving, and he became like, like a star in Pittsburgh. And then what happened was, you know, the stardom got to him,
Right.
and then the behavior changed, right? So then it
Yes.
made me think about your topic, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. He
Mhm.
may have lost sight of that why,
That,
and then it came together. I was like,
that's it, B.
she is this one a sneaky one over here.
Yeah.
So so let's talk about that. Let's talk about establishing the why, and then let's get right to how people would end up losing sight of that why.
Hmm. Okay, so establishing the why, of course, going back to personal perspective.
Oh, and real quick,
Uh huh.
there's like a slight scratchiness with the mic. I don't know if your phone or camera is on something.
Uh oh.
Um, we can hear you fine, but there's just like a little scratch.
Is it better? I don't know. It's my phone's mic, or maybe
Okay.
I need to switch phones. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I can hear you. It's just a little. It's just a little like a little crack.
Or maybe let me load this down. I hope it's not my other sounds interfering in here. It's so many. You know, when you're surrounded by tech,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta mute everything.
The
I'm gonna mute
the
this.
tech ain't teching right now.
Right, right. Hopefully that'll clear it up. Or maybe I need to stop playing and just switch to the other phone sometimes. Because
Probably,
this is my old
probably.
Saint. Right now we on the old Saint phone. We gotta go to the new Saint, the new member phone. So next time I'm gonna switch
Yeah.
it up. So hopefully it's clear enough for the people to get the message. But we'll
No,
see.
they'll get it. They'll get it.
All right. So when it comes to the beginning of the why, so the first question was what, B?
The first question was, is how do you establish a why? And then we're gonna talk about how back
The
to the
main
topic,
thing.
like how someone would lose sight of that, because it's interesting because I haven't really heard too many people talk about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I put in the topic, I was thinking about my overall audience, and then I was thinking about really just us as a community, like just what we call minority as a community. We never really grow up with the perspective of even having a why. You're growing up with the perspective of I'm trying to survive from day to day. So growing up for me, I never knew that I had what it took to be a leader, for instance, right? I didn't know that I was supposed to use all of the concepts of, you're loud for a reason. People trust you with their information for a reason. The insight that you have just by nature to help people is all for a reason. But as you grow and you're starting to decipher, like, well, where do I belong? How do I find myself? All these different things, you got to source into the fact that if you think by nature you're called to, like you say, entrepreneurial spirit. I never liked working for people, and I always had like this limited amount of attention span I could give to the job. It was
I
always
felt
like
yo,
every
I
time
can
I had a
empathize
job,
with you for sure.
yes.
I
So
know
I'm
what you
just,
mean.
man, what am I gonna do with this? So I clock in all the time, but I feel like I'm losing quality of life every time I do it. So I'm just like, okay, well, what am I going to do with the skill set that I see I have naturally? And then I think that's why I established the why. You want to go into entrepreneurship first, knowing that that's the foundation of why you're in it in the first place. Your why needs to represent something that's going to keep the fuel burning to sustain entrepreneurship. So I always ask on my clarity calls when people are saying, well, I want to do this and I want to do that. My first question is always, well, why? What's your why? What is the thing that made you feel like you're in position to do this? My why became my son. I
Mm.
didn't get to my why until I became a mom. And then it became the part of, well, why do you care about the underdog? Because I always tell people why is a complex question. You don't stop at the first why. After you get the answer to the first why, then you ask why to that why. Then you go why to that why. And when you dig into why, you find something that triggers you in the inside of you. And the inside of me, I discovered that I always was the underdog cheerleader. Well, why you care about the underdog, B? Because I hate when people have their voice or their protection or anything stripped away from them. Well, where did that come from? Why? That's because I found out I was always the one called on, even as a child, to help men and solve problems within my household. Came from a lot of like volatile background, people not understanding communication, people not understanding that you don't have to holler to get your point across type of background. So when that would happen, or I would see kids getting bullied in school, I always wanted to protect them. So now moving forward, I understand, well, the core of my why is because now I feel like through branding and graphics, I'm giving a voice back to the voiceless. And the thing that keeps that fueling is because I need to provide for my son. So saying all that to say the why is important, and where the why starts, it starts in the core of you.
You know, I'm just sitting with this real quick.
You gonna sit on it?
I got to sit with it real quick because it makes me think. It's like you said your why is your son, but you had to have your son.
Dad.
So what I'm sitting with is like two things. One,
what if you didn't have your son?
Mm.
And then what if there's not a situation in individual lives that would trigger the why? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like there's always going to be something there. There's always going to be something there. The person, for instance, let's say fitness. Fitness is so big right now, so we'll do that. If you become someone that wants to train a person in fitness, why do you care? The why stems from your ability to care about something. So that would mean if you never find a why, then that means you don't care about anything. And if you don't care about anything, then you're not an entrepreneur to begin with, because the whole purpose of entrepreneurship is to serve a problem that someone needs to solve, right? It's not about the bag, it's the mission. It's not about the money, it's the ministry. So if you don't have any of that in you, then what's your sole purpose of living? You got to have a why. There's a core of something. You might have been abused. You might have been obese as a kid, and you saw the result of working out. So now you want to give that same result to someone else. Why do you care? Because you understand the absence of self-esteem. So that's why I say, like, the questioning of the why, it'll lead to a core that's in yourself.
She just got to keep digging.
You got to keep digging. You'll find the why.
You just gotta keep digging. All right, we got a question, right? So this question is coming from Tosh. She says, how do you push through your passion? How do you push your passion through your brand if you are quiet or laid back? How do you push your passion through your brand if you're quiet or laid back?
That's a good question. There are different ways, and I run into that a lot because I have a lot of people that say, okay, I'm an introvert, or, oh, I don't like talking to people, or I'm shy. And again, the why factor still even applies to that. Your why has to mean enough to push through. That's why I say the core of all of it is the why. But even let's say you're timid, you would either want to be creative in your content. So when it comes to content, a lot of people don't want to be on the camera. That's okay, as long as your story is clear. So when I'm coming with, there's a thing called brand authority, there's a thing called brand story. So when I'm coming with authoritative position, that's me consistently showing that I have value. How can you paint an illustration to your audience that's showing the value? Not only the value, but is leading people through the process that they will be taken through to show that you can solve their problem. I also have this thing where I say you got to know how to pull the trigger. Okay. When I say you got to know how to pull the trigger, you have to understand your audience so much so that you know what triggers them in the inside. People don't pay to illustrate a facade. People pay to get out of pain. So if you can relieve someone of a pain, if I had a headache or a toothache and you were the only one be with the ibuprofen, I don't care what the price tag is on it. I'm focused on getting out of my pain. So in order for me to project that, even if I'm a timid person, through the brand, I would just say, hey, has that headache kept you up at night? That could be a piece of content. That could be illustrated on a video that I pulled from Google or a reel or wherever I found the content. But as long as you are connecting the illustration, taking people through the process of how you solve the problem that they're in, you're more than likely to convert them from cold to warm. And then it's just all about nurturing that relationship.
Yeah, you're speaking some heavy facts right now.
Is it heavy?
That's heavy facts. I think what you just said about and I feel like it's a little complex only because people haven't realized that they need to build an audience and community. But I
Mhm.
just want to address like what you said about like when you're actually really pulling that trigger and really knowing like, okay, I know my audience so well that if this happens or if this happens or if I post this or if I share this, they're gonna move, this way or that way, or
Right.
knowing that no, I can't have this certain person on my platform because they're not gonna vibe with his energy or her energy or her content or whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just like because you know,
Mhm.
but you have to build an audience first. You got to get the people
Yes.
off of the things that you're there on, like
Yes.
socials and the
Yes.
brands and the TikToks. I
Yes.
mean, YouTube and even LinkedIn. You need to get them off of these platforms and get them into your text community or email community,
Yes.
or a
So
group
we
me, a Slack or something before you can even get to their habits.
yes, this is true. We can hit that too. So let's move back. You're right. Because some people are like, well, how do you build that first in order
Yeah,
to pull a trigger?
yeah, yeah.
I always suggest you start with what is called grassroots marketing. And it's funny because I just talked about this live. You will also hear people like Corey Arbinger. He speaks on grassroots marketing too. When it comes to people that are kind of timid, scared, going back to the original question, start with what's familiar to you. Okay, so that means reaching out to the people that's already in your phone, reaching out to the people that is already in your email campaigns, or maybe just people you frequently email with that you know. Reaching out to coworkers, reaching out to staff at the church, reaching out to your local grocery store owner that you've been shopping at since you were 12. Those are the places where you start because what they're familiar, so more than likely you already have taken down the know, like, and trust factor. They already know you. Okay, so they're already familiar with you. And then that will give you a place of comfort to where it's easier to engage them. So then when you do exchange of contact information, that should include the social, or that should include the text community, or that should include however they need to follow up with you. So when it is time to convert into the content and going live, and like we're doing YouTube streaming, podcasting, whatever you decide to do, those are the first people that you reach out to and say, hey, today's the first day I'm going live, da da da. Could you please just stop by and support? Just like B, he'll drop a DM and say, could you please just go like the YouTube? But he built the relationship first. So if you start the grassroots, those are the people already familiar with you. You grew up in that church, you went to that school. You go follow up with them first and say, hey, I have this idea. This is where I'm going with things. I would love your support. This is how you can follow up, blah, blah, blah. You get them into a funnel, but you want a way to be able to continue to nurture that relationship because technically those people are already a warm audience. You don't really have to convert from cold. They're familiar with you. So those will also be the people when you go live and you say share this out. Now they're sharing with their community. Their community is a likely chance becomes your community. So that's a great way that you set that back, B.
So if
Let's
you guys are watching right now, we're talking to V. She's sharing about the origin of the why and how you need to dig deep and ask yourself why a bunch of times as you get to the core to
yep,
figure out what's actually going to motivate you.
yep.
What is going to give you that engine to have you push forward on the days that are not fueled by high energy and passion,
Mm-hmm,
right? Those days where you still need to do the work anyway, but
mm-hmm.
you rather just lay on the couch or not do any work, right? Where is the why? What's going to keep that engine burning? So you can still get it done on those days. I want to know about how do you fall off that why though? How do you now fall off?
Oh, and see, I'd lie if I said you don't fall off.
That's what I'm saying.
That you're
That's what
going
I
to.
want to know.
You're going to. This is what I always say though. You put boundary around it. You have to. People lack accountability and discipline. If you feel like you're going to step into entrepreneurship without accountability and discipline, you may as well not fill out that application because you're not going to be able to sustain it. So that's why I say the why matters, because if I were to sit down and sleep in 2 days straight, so my boundary for myself is, this is an example. If I ever have a day where I'm in my feelings and it's a low day, I'm overwhelmed, I'm frustrated, maybe the day before something went wrong, and maybe I had been doing all my meditation and mantras and affirmations and all this, that, and the third that we all into these days, and it's still that I'm frustrated or overwhelmed. I always give myself 24 hours. You have 24 hours to get over yourself.
You got 24 hours to do a pity party.
That's it. That's it. We're not going out sending no invitations to the pity party. It's time to shut down and reset. So I give myself 24 hours. And then after that, it's no excuses. We open up for excuses, and instead of exchanging excuses for execution, that's how we get in those modes. And people don't understand that because of, like, we have law of attraction, we got all these different laws. But when it comes to the law of stagnation, that's going to grow on itself, just like progress will. So it's just up to you to decide which one do I want to put the momentum behind. If you were in fitness, like, we work out all the time. If he took a day off, the result of that day will lead to 2, and then 2 will lead to 3. So you got to put a boundary around that and hold yourself accountable. If you lack accountability, seek out a power circle. That's why it's important to be surrounded by the right people. We are the average of the 5 people around us. So if you're around lack talk, then that's what the result of your life is going to be. If you're around abundance, then that's what the result of your life is going to be. So you got it. It's different tips and strategies and tools to use to stay focused and stay fueled up. So when I'm empty and I need my gas, I got to go to the gas station to put fuel in the car. Who is your plug? You know, and if you're not plugged into power, then I would strongly suggest to find power. A lot of times it starts with seeking out a mentor. Mentors are there to help you, to reassure you, to guide you. It starts with reading books. I start my day out every day with a book. I signed up for David Shands for the sake of the book club. So every morning, 7 a.m., we talking books. So you feed yourself the fuel it takes. It's just like feeding yourself food. You got to pick the right calories, right? Some bad, some good. It's up to you to choose. So it's about the boundaries. Make sure you hold yourself accountable. And my law is you got 24 hours to get over yourself.
What's the penalty for you? And I think it might be good for people to hear. If you do not get over yourself in 24 hours, is there a penalty?
I look at the result. If I don't produce, that little one doesn't eat. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't produce, what's the result of that? You know what I mean? If you don't make a sale today, if you don't put out an offer, and a lot of entrepreneurs, especially going back to that first question, some of us are scared to put the offer out there. What's the result? You don't get a sale. You see what I'm saying? So if I don't work out, I don't get the results in my body. If I don't put out a sale, then I don't feed my son. If I don't work today, I don't pay my bills. So I just simply look at the result of my action.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So we talked about getting the why, right? We talked about like once you get it, like it really being a strong why.
Yeah.
How do we not lose sight of it?
Oh,
so like, when you not lose sight of it. So let's say things is moving, money's flowing, trips is going, credit cards is blowing. I got access now.
Right.
Maybe it came fast.
Right.
Maybe there's all these new people. How do I not lose sight of what motivated me to persevere to get to the success I'm now experiencing?
I'm gonna tell you what helped me, and the funny thing is, this happened recently. I booked 2 millionaire clients in 1 week. And that was the first time that ever happened to me in my career as a brand developer, right? So, as a female coming from the hood of Louisiana, not having a blueprint of entrepreneurship, never had conversations about wealth, you start feeling yourself when you like, oh, I've been 10 toes in the pavement and I built this from the ground. Yeah, you just get to. But then as soon as you start feeling yourself, life's gonna show up. And it'll be a factor that comes into that thing, and you get into this groove of feeling you. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you get up that ladder, here come the things that's bringing you down. So it's really about staying humble, and not so much so of being a fool to being humble, but being realistic that things rise and fall. So when it comes to the whole, how do you stay in with that why and not losing sight of it? I'm not going to lie to you that it won't happen, that you won't lose sight. But what I will say is life will start showing you through how the results of that. When you start getting the big head, there will be a situation that will pop that air. You see what I'm saying? So I really just say hone in to discerning of being true to you. As long as you stay true to you, the transparency that you had in the beginning, the outreach that you were willing to give in the beginning, and this is also a key factor too. A lot of things do have to change when your status quo changes, when you know how much you're bringing in changes. Because, like I said earlier, the five around you is the average of what's in your pocket. So things are going to change, you know. But what I need people to hone in to is the mission. You got to stay clear on your mission. I don't care if you got to write it on your whiteboard or whatever the case may be. There are going to be times, and this is the thing that's kind of tricky, especially when it comes to becoming, like I call it, insta famous or like celebrity on social media. Even at the status that I am at, I'm not one of these big time whatever's. Now I'm big time in my, you know, I
Oh
feel
yo,
like
no. You big time.
I'm big time. But
You big.
when it comes to how
You
people,
big time.
nothing, period. When it comes to how people view numbers and things, I always say, don't look at the followers, look at the invoices. You know what I'm saying? But from what society is seeing, like the people outside looking in, they're like, oh my God, you're doing it. And people will literally start idolizing you out here. I can't tell you the amount of times I might have said, oh, it's cold outside, and somebody cashed out me in my group, and they're like, here's something for a heating blanket, or my son's birthday pass, and they're like, oh my God, here's this and that. When we went to Orlando, someone was like, my sister works at Crayola, we can get you in for free. Things like that start happening, and it's easy for you to be like, oh, okay, this is how it's going. You know what I'm saying?
She like, yo, heavy on the Crayola vibes right now.
Happy. We had an awesome time. I loved Crayola. My son loved it. But you start really feeling like you're feeling yourself, and then here's where it hits though. Be you ever been up there and you living life, and then you run a challenge and only 5 people show up?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there for sure.
So those are those moments where life and whatever you want to call it, God, universe, life, whatever, it will remind you of when you're stepping outside of the why. You see what I'm saying? So I go by what life is showing me through the ups and downs, and that always returns me to the fact like, okay, you starting to step outside. Remember what it's for in the first place. Okay. So that's really what I do. I just gauge it according to how life is going. But I always try to say, and it's really about people's integrity. If you are a person built on solid character and integrity, you're not going to lose that why. You'll go up and down, but you will return back to why you did it in the first place.
So on Imperfect Action, we like to give people like some actionable steps.
Uh-oh.
So when they experiencing like that thought or that energy, where they may have to give themselves some 24-hour grace or whatever the case may be, where they may be getting outside of their purpose, getting outside of their why. What are a couple of actionable steps? Can you share 2 or 3 actionable steps that
Yes.
people can maybe able to tap into to see if it would help realign them to the why?
Yes. The first thing I do is disconnect from the matrix, meaning unplug from all the noise. Stop searching social media. Stop doing, like, just stop for a minute and reset back to your one thing. A lot of times we get outside of it because we like this thing I've been beating the pavement on. It was cute, but now I got to do something new. Or that was successful, so now I got to build on something totally different. Don't dig wide, dig deep. So that's honing in to one thing.
Yeah, V already said the bags was in the cracks.
It's in the cracks. All you got to do is go and focus, like hone in. We are so in this information overload, we forget what track we were on to begin with. So a lot of times it comes from, oh, I tried that, it worked, so now I got to do something different. Or I tried that, it didn't work. So I got no, and then now you're all over the place. And because you follow this person, they dropped the ebook or they dropped the course. Now you invested in something that has nothing to do with the one thing. There's actually a book called The One Thing. I love that book, and I would suggest that people read The One Thing. I forgot the author's name, but there's only one The One Thing book. It's on Amazon. But that helped me to become aware of what importance it means to build the branches from the root of one thing. I am what I call squirrel brain, and being a creative is very hard to hone in. So when I'm straying away And I feel like life is just becoming so overbearing. I have mental, like my mind run all day to where it's like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Just reset. So I would say one, disconnect from everything that is distraction and just shut down. And then go back to the drawing board of what was it that made me start gearing up this thing in the first place? What's the root? We'll lose the root because we are caught up in the branches that we building out here. But the bad part about it, some of those branches don't connect to the original tree. So we just got to go back to the original tree, hone into that one thing, and just settle your mind down. We make things more complex than what it has to be sometimes. So those are my steps. Honestly, reset, go back to the one thing, and then of course, stay connected to your power circle or your one power source, whatever that thing is that refuels you, or whatever that person or that significant, whoever it is that's your go-to, that can help remind you and restore you on, well, you remember this was the whole point or the reason why you got in that in the first place. Go and talk to that person. That would be the only one I would talk to in my shutdown period. And just reset yourself.
You know, I just gotta sit here and take it in for a second, right? I just got to sit here. I hope you guys are sitting here too,
Because what I want you to understand is those three actionable steps that V dropped, and I actually put the book in there. The one thing is Gary Keller. Those
Yes.
three actionable steps, right? So let's just recap. All right. So number one, she was talking about disconnecting from the matrix. So sometimes it's very hard when you get distracted or you get kind of led astray to actually be self aware that you're actually in this moment, like
Yes.
that you're in that moment. But
Yes.
when you realize that you're in that moment, disconnecting it or shutting it off as soon as possible as you can unplug from that noise. And then you talked about resetting, right? Resetting back to that one thing.
Mhm.
You also touched on going back to that original tree or going back to that original purpose, right? That
Mhm.
original why, and then obviously staying connected to your power circle or your power source.
Mhm.
We got one more question, and then we gotta wind down. And I want people to understand how they can get in contact with you because I think it's very important for them to tap in with you if they want to be a little bit more intimate and work with you or just further the conversation. So Winnie asks, how would one dig deep to find their why?
Write it. Everything. Write everything. Don't let it circle around in your head. Write it. Write down first starting out. Like let's say her name was Whitney. Was it Whitney?
Yeah.
Whitney, what is it that you would like to do with your life? That would be an easy way. I love to do it when it's like a practical, real situation. So let's say she wanted to be a cook. Okay. The first simple thing you ask yourself is, why do I want to cook for people? It's as simple as that. Write it. Why do I want to cook for people? Okay, I like to make sure people have nourishment or good food. Why do I care that people are nourished and have good food? Because maybe I grew up in a area where it was low income and we were eating junk, and now I see that everybody has diabetes and high blood pressure, and I saw that my uncle had to get his leg amputated due to his diet. Why did that matter to you? Well, the shock factor that it placed on my life, it caused me to have some kind of encouragement. Something's going to fuel in you at some point, depending on each individual story, to that why. But it starts with writing it out. It is amazing how many things I have brought into fruition in my life or gotten clarity out of my life just by writing it down. When you hear people say write it and make it plain, that's where you start, with a sheet of paper and a pen and some quiet time, doing some self work, finding out why you care in the first place.
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to what you're saying. Let's bring it back. So shutting, disconnected from the matrix,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Unplugging from the noise,
Yep.
right? Going back to the original source, because there's something, even if it ain't the thing, there's still something.
It's
So
something.
go back to that original source, and then stay connected to your power circle. So I just gotta say something real quick. I remember when I had no millionaire friends. I remember what I didn't have, you know, I had good networking, but I felt like my networking and the people in my circle were just like at a certain level. And I felt like, okay, if I continue to engage with these folks, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with them. But if I continue to engage with these folks, I'm gonna stay where these folks is at.
Yep.
So I was intentional about getting new friends and building my network digitally and in person.
Yep.
So what I'm saying here is that what I would do, especially if I was somebody that had maybe even had one friend that was like, let's say to the moon or doing, positive light, inspirational moving and grooving, I would do I would be with them.
That's it. That's
Right?
it.
I would be with them. I would copy them. I would tap into them. I would read the books they're reading. I would look at the videos they're looking at. I would be on live when they're on live. I would jump in webinars if they got webinars. I would go for a ride along. I would be like, yo, bro, what you doing? Or sis, what you doing? Yo, donut, walk, hike.
That's
You know what
it.
I'm saying? Can I
That's
do
it.
something for you? Can I just be around? Especially if
it.
they're friends, right? I'm not even talking about developing a relationship. I'm just talking about, like, for instance, me and V been tapping in. If I see V's going on live, I'm going on live. If I can, if I see that V got something popping and I can get in the timelines, I'm in there. You know what I'm saying? If like Dion got something, I'm in there.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? If like V just mentioned the one thing, if I didn't read that, I'm about to order that. Like y'all
That.
got to pick up the context clues and
That.
be around the people that are moving around the sun in closer proximity than where you may be at.
B.
You know what I'm saying?
See, now you dropping heavy right now.
Because listen,
That's it.
yo, V, how much money have you spent on your personal development in the past couple years? Let's just drop the number.
Thousands.
I mean, just give me like a
I
roundabout.
would say, my God, maybe
'Cause I would-
around $8,000 to $10,000.
All right, check this out. If V dropped 8 to 10, and I ain't dropped nothing, right? But she spent 8 to 10 on information access, programs, resources, materials.
Yes.
I ain't dropped nothing, and she's my friend, or she's in maybe that outer circle. I'm about to get that for free.
Yes. Yes.
You know why? Because I'm gonna be like, yo, V, what you got? What you doing? What you reading? What's up? What you got?
Yes.
Free webinar? What? I'm trying to be where she's at because I want to learn through osmosis. I want to learn directly. I want to be tapped in. I want her to just spill something on me by accident.
Yes. By accident. And
You know
it's so
what I'm
funny. Ironically,
Just-
my show's called
Hey,
Spilling the
she
Ink.
was just talking about, going to get some water, and she dropped a whole gym on me. I just happened to be there. I caught it up.
Yes. And listen,
So some of y'all cheat code is to just think about who in y'all circle, and be around.
be around.
And then in some case, you need to provide enough value where they want to keep you around. Because one thing that I also want to say is this, especially a high performing entrepreneur that is vesting on a high level, they're not going to want to hang around someone who's not.
No.
But that doesn't mean they're gonna drop you. That just means your intrinsic value may have to be different than just spending the money. Because you may not have it, and that's cool. But the value isn't just for the dollar, right? Value, the dollar is just access.
That's it.
So you
That's
guys may
it.
just need to bring another type of value to the mix,
That's it.
right?
That's it. And again, this will be brief. I'm gonna show this because what you're talking about, I literally said live today. And I'm like, listen, y'all gotta understand, even if because people think they can't get in the room because they lack the money. It's not about the money. I got down to my last $1,000. And just like me, I moved to Houston, no family, no nothing. I saw opportunity. I saw college. I went to school, and then I just started panning out the plan. The plan, God laughs at the plan, but I need you guys to plan, expecting for the plan not to go as planned. Okay? There's going to be some twists and turns. And again, that comes from a book, Psychology of the Mind. I'm reading that one right now.
Another one. Hope y'all picking up these gems.
It will blow your mind because a lot of people know how to make money, but some people don't know how to sustain money. So when it comes to how I got started, I started through serving. It's too many of us that forget volunteer work will get you in the room. Serving people and showing your diligence, you communicating while y'all exchanging. When you working, sometimes you get to work VIP at some of these events. Hand out a QR code or a card, start engaging these people. Get the contact information. And like B just said, start getting around new people, hearing how they talk. This thing that we have called technology, it depends on how you use it. It could be a gem, beautiful tool, or it could be a monster, total distraction. It's all about how you use it. Sometimes I buy into people's ebooks and courses. Right now, I just dropped $200. I'm in a 5-day course. Okay. I know they're going to sales pitch at the end. I'm in marketing. I know what sales is, I know the game. Everybody's using the same concepts. But what I do is people that are millionaires, multi-billionaires, they're teaching this. So I get in the room to hear the method of what words are they using? How are they getting the people in here? I will download an ebook just to go through the person's funnel. What's the system? What are you talking to me about in this text community? And I'm very specific. I'm very strategic on who I'm saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and invest. I'm going to go ahead and enlist. You got to really study it. It's all about mastery. If I can master being a brand developer and I can talk to you down to the bone marrow about your presence and your colors and the theory and the awareness and the authority and the attraction and the SAR method and all of these different things that come into branding, and I'm feeding you value every single day for free, what you think you're going to get when you come into my course? What are you think you're going to get when you come into my Brand Builders Academy?
Fire.
So it started with serving. It all started with serving. You need no money to serve.
100%. And we can really spend so much time on this. We got a couple more questions, but you know what? We'll do this. Mm-hmm. There's 2 questions. You give one answer. I give one answer to both questions. And then I want to give you the opportunity to let people know how they can work with you, get tapped in with you, join your communities and all of that. So cool. Both these questions are coming for Ty. So Ty, appreciate that. And first of all, if you guys really like today's episode, make sure you share it out with people, right? I'm going to drop V's contact information below, as soon as we're done going live. So make sure y'all share it out. We're gonna handle these last 2 questions. V gonna answer once. I'm gonna answer once to both of them, and then she's gonna let you know how you guys can tap in. Then we're gonna sign off. Okay. Ty asks, tell us how we bring value if it's not about the money besides referrals.
How do we bring value if it's not about the money?
Yep.
The value. Okay.
Only V. I know it's gonna be hard. Only one thing though.
Okay. How do you bring value if it's not about the money? Oh, that's so. Oh, I'm trying not to go all over the place. It still goes back to why you're in it in the first place. Like me, I'm a brand developer. I bring value by breaking down branding. You see what I mean? That's the value. When you go into the end goal, the problem you solve, you focus on the problem you solve, and then you do the research to master knowing the information to solve their problem. And that's how you bring the value. So every day I'm diligently exposing to the community, the audience, wherever you're trying to serve, the mission behind solving your problem. That's it.
And honestly, I would agree with her. But if I was going to give something a little different, I would be known as the authority in that space, and I would just become the connector or the sharer. So for instance, like Ty's in the hair space. So what I would do is I would build a community, right? And I would let everyone that's a hairstylist, everyone that makes hair products, everyone that does hair demos, I would put them all in my group and encourage them to come into my group, and they can use that group so they can connect, develop, right, network, build, collaborate, make money. I'm just the one that facilitates that and curates that, but they're gonna know me because I'm the one that put it together, right? So, hey, I'm looking for a stylist in Philly. Go to the group.
You the plug.
You know, James is in Philly. Janice is in Philly. Y'all gonna link up. Y'all gonna get some. There's gonna be some work to be done, right? So I would own a group. That's probably what I would do. Next question. This one also for Ty. She asks, How do we help serve you guys?
Like us personally, or like you guys in general?
Yeah, us personally.
Oh man, well that would be dope. And you said Ty's in the hair industry.
Yeah.
I would just love to have Ty as a speaker, or she can join the group. It all goes because you also have to just qualify people, so
Yep.
it'll be good to be able to chop it up and see how we can merge something and make something happen. I'm always open to communication, so it starts with that conversation first, and then we can see where that fits. And then when things like events come up and so on and so forth, maybe a vending opportunity for you, or something may come up, but it starts with the conversation. I'm always open, and when we drop how to keep in contact, we can definitely talk.
Yep, yep. And what I would say to that is, if it's my favorite person, like let's say it's V. Like, yeah, I'm gonna just use V for example. Let's say I'm paying attention to what V got going on. She talking about she about to drop a book. She about to do a challenge or a webinar. She's going live. I'd be like, well, what am I good at? Like, am I
Yes.
good at like organization? Am I good at facilitation?
Yes.
Am I good at bringing the energy? Maybe I could see if there's an opportunity that, because she got a lot going on, maybe I could host her group for her,
Yeah.
and that takes that off her plate. Maybe I can warm up the live for her, so she doesn't have to warm up the live and give maybe
Yeah.
maybe there's something that I could do to make it easier for her to just show up and do
Yep.
what she does, and that's gonna align me with her. And then maybe she likes how I did it. She just is like, "Yo, can you do my next one?"
That's right.
Right?
That literally just happened in my brand builders. I got a moderator out of the group because she was consistent. She shows up. She's always like, "Well, V, you want me to do that? You want me to start this group for you?" Da 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 da. And she's become the person now. So yeah, you're definitely, and that's finding the crack.
Right? Because the bags is in the cracks, y'all.
The bag is in the. I hate that you love that so much.
The bag.
Out of everything I've said today, y'all, being stuck on the bag is in the crack.
So look, V, I want to thank you for making this 80th episode so amazing. I'm definitely grateful to have you in the space. We
Thank
spent a
you.
lot of time giving a lot of value and sharing. So with this time intentionally, I want people to know how they can tap in with you. So if they want some group access, one-on-one access, if they want to download some digital products, if they want to learn how to get their branding correct, get their messaging right, how can they work with you?
Well, first I want to say thanks for having me. I am so appreciative of the opportunity. Love what you're doing for the community, Brendan, just bringing awareness for entrepreneurs. And you are the plug. He's already the plug, y'all. But besides that, if you guys want to work with me, we have so many different directions we can take entrepreneurs and branding. So let's start with the clarity calls all the way up to Brand Builders Academy if you need ongoing mentorship. So when it comes to also brand development, we have packages. Someone that needs websites, book covers, all types of things, logos. You need brand colors for yourself. We do it all from beginning to end. So the best way to get in contact with me is all social media platforms at Panther Ink Graphics, and graphics is spelled with an X. So Panther Ink Graphics. The website is actually being hosted on a new platform now, but it is pantheringraphics.com, but it's been taken down from one and now it's being put on WordPress. So that will be up soon. But everything is Panther Ink Graphics. So you can follow me there. And if you want to work together, let's work. Instagram is my primary source. So click the link in that bio. You will definitely get to me and all the things that I offer. I even have apparel. I have hats, bonnets, all kinds of stuff. So just tune in,
You
tap
got
in.
bonnets, yo.
I got
Hey, yo,
bonnets.
Ty, you might need to connect with V. She got bonnets. Bonnet Betty, what up?
And it says
Bonnet
boss
Betty.
in the bonnet. Don't play with it.
I got so V, thanks a lot. Make sure you guys tapping in. I put her on Instagram in the chat, and like I said, it will be below. If there's a specific link that you want me to highlight, send it to me. I will put that in the caption so they can tap into that. Guys, look, I just gotta be honest. I'm doing my first event. It's coming up August 19th and 20th. You do not want to miss this. Nothing moves till you moves. Mastermind, 2 days in LA. It's gonna get crazy.
Love it.
So if you're interested, we got the pre-sale tickets available. What you want to do is I'm gonna just put my Instagram in here. You will get access to just get the link in the bio. You get access to the early bird link, and that will allow you to get an early bird ticket. Why is that? Why is that important? Because you got an early bird ticket. You can make money before you even come to the conference by just being an affiliate. So buy a ticket and use that to get your friends or your family to come, and then you can make money.
Get that bag.
I want you to make money on the ticket. Now, a lot of people, you go to these conferences and it's cool. You get the value and everything like that. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. However, you can't make money on the conference.
Right.
I want you to make money before you come to the conference.
Ooh.
So if you spend, I think the GA is 250. So if you spend 250 on a GA ticket and that's for 2 days, you can resell it to two people and you can make your 250 back.
Wow.
So that's
Who
the
else is
position
doing
I
it?
want you to put into. So if you want to come to the mastermind, it's going to be amazing speakers, a lot of value, community collaboration, technology, entrepreneurship, and the power of podcasting. So we're going to be going over all that stuff. And you never know who you're going to meet. Now, your business
That's
partner might be in there, your husband, your wife, who knows?
investors.
But there might be some money you need to get, so you need to show up.
Yes.
So just hit me on Instagram, DM, or link in the bio if you want access to the mastermind. And V, me and you about to get together soon. So thanks a lot for
We
your
got work
time.
to do.
Thanks a lot for your time, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Love and light, y'all. Thank you for having me, B.